Hey everybody, it's Party Elite. Welcome you back to a continuation of our Africa DLC pack mini-series for Planet Zoo. Today we're going to be adding in the Southern White Rhinoceros, and I am really quite pleased with how this space turns out, and I am really quite pleased with the animals themselves as well. The level of detail is just through the roof. They're extremely impressive to look at, so I had a lot of fun with spending time with them after the time lapse, and actually got to learn a fair bit about them as well. Which was cool because I'm somewhat familiar with them, but I'm familiar with their sort of story, as it were. But I learned some nifty details that I didn't know, which is always a fun time. With that said, I guess we're diving right into it. I didn't realize how quickly I got the shape down over here. The overall shape of this enclosure, dug in as it is actually a reference to an archaeological find from Southern Africa. I apologize, but I forget from exactly where, but there was a sort of a crude clay sculpture of a rhino, which to a degree, I think because of like just decay and erosion and stuff, looks a bit more like an elephant. It looks like it's got a trunk and stuff, but that's probably the horn. It's just a small reference to that. But apart from that, just a lot of this enclosure is actually inspired by how prevalent the rhino is across Southern African sort of tribal histories. There are a lot of artifacts that you would find from the region. There are gold sculptures, there are clay sculptures, there's all sorts of stuff. And one of the things that I actually reference a couple of times is the result of from my understanding, it's symbolism that is relatively commonly found across tribes of Southern Africa. It might be a bit more specific than that, but again, my research so far has only suggested that it's a fairly common visual element, I guess you could say, across the board, and it is the monolith, specifically in reference to the rhino's horn. See, the rhino among these tribes was seen as, a powerful thing. I mean, they're huge creatures, they're terrifying creatures, they're very powerful creatures as well. And the horn was seen as the symbol, or a symbol, I should say, of the rhino. And so to represent that, and to represent the authority, you could say, of the rhino, the horn was used often as a architectural motif, and typically they were monoliths. So I tried to recreate that a little bit here and there in this enclosure. The piece you're actually seeing in the middle there, which is acting as the monolith, is the plaster piece from this new DLC. It's called the plaster cone, I think. Initially I was using just a rock from the base game, African rock or something it's called. I forget the exact name now. But I was using that at first, but it was too small. It wasn't really, I didn't have that powerful kind of vibe to it, so to speak. So I thought, if this is supposed to be a reference to the authority or the power of a rhino, then I should give a proper sized horn, I guess. But yeah, so it's relatively common imagery. It's been found across multiple dig sites and things like that. They have a variety of arrangements. I think, if memory serves me right now, I think it is often found in like entrances to spaces. You can find like a pair of them as entrances to spaces. Or at least in this one particular dig site I'm thinking about right now. And I do kind of replicate that. I wanted to have one that was a bit of a centerpiece, and I did put down a vista there as well to kind of like have people look at the monolith. And in theory, I could have a billboard down there that like talks about it and speaks to the cultural references and things like that as well. But I didn't do that here because I'm not going to build a custom billboard with custom art and stuff for what's supposed to primarily be an animal showcase. But it's just a thought that crossed my mind as I was establishing the space, to use those vistas as sort of points to bring guests around, so that they are looking like they're looking at something. You know what I mean? In this case, the rhino horn monolith at the top over there. Now, to the side over here. So initially, I was considering I would allow the rhinos to hide underneath the path up top over here. But then I was like, nah. I ended up wanting to cover it up, and I think it helps ensure that the rhinos are going to spend more time out and about. So instead, to ensure they had at least some hard shelter, I decided to build this little kind of thatched roof section over here. I'm quite pleased with how it works. I used a new North African log. It doesn't look particularly North African, so I don't mind the geographical inconsistency, if you will. But I used the North African log and some bedding, actually, to make the roof, and that's definitely something I'm going to be doing more of in the future as well. Now, over here, initially I tried to build... I wanted to have a natural source of, like, drinking water, and initially I tried to build, like, a waterfall setup, but we just recently did a fairly complicated one of these in my franchise mode Let's Play, and so I was like, all right, look, we've done it very recently. Let's do something a little different here. It doesn't always, otherwise it feels like we're doing the same thing over and over again, right? So an interesting shape. The first time actually using the quote-unquote dirty water coloration, I think it works quite nicely because we're going to put down some like a mud bath over there. I think it'll work. I think it'll work quite nicely with the overall kind of aesthetic and vibe that comes with that. It's wild actually how quickly I was able to realize my vision over here. You can see a pair of monoliths by the entrance over here. I'll put another monolith down by the water. To me, that kind of like pairs off with the one that's in the center where the guests are going to stand. It almost feels like the head of a rhino. You've got the two horns, right? So I quite like that. And the other pair, of course, the intro. Now over here, trying to get this mud bath set up and using that as a sort of a centerpiece. Again, this was an excellent suggestion I got in the comments for my franchise mode Let's Play, right? And I love it. It breaks up the space, brings life to it, as do these trees that are actually new with this DLC as well. So really quite pleased with this enclosure. It wasn't over the top or ridiculously wild, but a few cultural references, a lot of fun research as well. Hope you learned something, from the build over here today. But that's pretty much it for this time lapse. Again, I hope you had a good time, and we're gonna dive on in with the animals to see the Southern White Rhinoceros in action. Folks, that said, back to regular speed. Alright, folks, we are back from the time lapse, and pretty pleased with all the little nifty discoveries that I made over the course of this time lapse. There are new trees, there's new vegetation, there's some further new plaster pieces that I didn't know existed. That's why I love doing this mini-series as well, on top of just like being able to spend some time with these animals before I might otherwise be able to in like my regular franchise series. I like it because I get to just kind of like look at some pieces and notice things that I might otherwise not have noticed. But yeah, these trees are completely new. There's some other new elements as well. I mean, these are completely new as well. As are these plaster blocks down over here that we're using, and put down another vista. By the way, okay, listen. All right, look, listen. This might be the most adorable thing I have seen in this game. Now, this is a game with baby animals, and yet this might be the most adorable thing I've seen. I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm not, just to be clear, I'm not being sarcastic or facetious or anything like that. This is extremely cute. Anyway, I just thought I'd highlight that. But yeah, pretty pleased with how this space looks overall. I think once we unpause it and we get the waterfall alive over here, it'll be a bit more dynamic. And with a couple of rhinos in as well, we'll start having a good time. I decided to make the water the dirty water color this time, by the way. I don't often use it, but it felt right for kind of like being right next to the mud bath. I kind of imagine like, when it rains and stuff, some of the mud trickles off and washes off or something like that, and that's what makes the water look a little bit dirty, so to speak. It's not actually dirty water, obviously. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, we have the filtration system able to keep it clean. I wish it wasn't called dirty water. I wish it was called like, muddy water, or like, I don't know, like silty water or something. But calling it dirty water makes me feel like I'm not taking care of my animals. But yeah, I'm sure I talked about the significance of these kind of monoliths during the time lapse. I decided to try and use them in more ways than just decoration. So hopefully we'll see some interactions there. Got some good toys around here. This, I don't think they'll be able to reach the sprinkler. I don't know how close they have to be to actually interact with it. So I might have to move that actually. But it should be able to get into the water to drink. I don't know, this might be a bit too steep, so I might have to make some adjustments. They might be able to get up over here, but that's only if they can fit up over here. They are large animals, of course, so might have some trouble. Let me check something over here real quick before it slips my mind. If I go ahead and edit barrier, I should be able to, you know what, let's go ahead and push this back just ever so slightly, just so they have a bit more room to try to, like, you know, get in over here. Move this out. Yeah. I could make this into a ridge if I wanted to, but I don't think so. I don't think I'm feeling that right now. Let's go ahead and get the rock in here on the side. Come on, there we go. There we go. Cool. Let's go ahead and take a look at the animal. Okay, no, I gotta clean this up. This is there we go. I need to clean it up. There we go. Done. Let's take a look at the animal. The Zoopedia entrance, of course. The Zoopedia entry, sorry. And then we'll bring them through the entrance. There's that word. And see how they interact with the space. By the way, I forgot to highlight this little, like, hard shelter space that I've made using bedding at the top. I quite like it. Using the North African wooden pieces. Now, these don't look particularly North African per se. They just look like painted wood. So, you know, that's all good. But yeah, a lot of the new pieces are North African inspired and in North African styles. I mean, even this is a very kind of like, it has those vibes, I would say. So, that's a bit of a that mismatch is something I've had to, like, try and get over. It's a little funny. I kind of wish they'd done, if you're gonna go sort of Pan Africa with a DLC. I kind of wish the architectural pieces were also Pan African as opposed to largely South African or Southern African animals and the Northern African pieces. Though in the grand scheme of things, for the game as a whole, it's fine because the base game already has so many Southern African pieces. So overall, it's fine. It's one of those kind of funny. For the purpose of this showcase, I guess it's been a little funny trying to show the new building pieces while working in the context of, you know. Anyway, I digress. My apologies. Let's go ahead and dive into Zoopedia and take a look at the brand new Southern White Rhinoceros, which, again, as you can see, actually I already have selected. They are in the far southern regions of Africa. But let's start with their general information, of course. So we are looking here, folks, at the Southern White Rhinoceros, the, oh dear, Ceratotherium cymum, I'm assuming is how that's said, near threatened, with a population in wild of 18,000. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the Southern White Rhino, I could be mistaken, so take this with a grain of salt, but I'm pretty sure they're actually one of these success stories of conservation efforts. I'm pretty sure that the Southern White Rhino was endangered, maybe even critically endangered. But they were in a troubled spot, and I think we've been able to do a good job of sort of bringing them back, protecting them from poachers and things like that, and we've improved their condition. And even still, despite this kind of success story, they are near threatened, still not least concern. But, you know, if they went from critically endangered or endangered, I'm pretty sure. So feel free to check me if I'm wrong here. But I'm pretty sure they used to be at least endangered. But, you know, we've done a decent job, and we've gotten better at dealing with poaching, with trying to prevent poaching. I'm sure some of this will be touched on, but it's one of the things I'm quite passionate about. There's also currently, if I'm not mistaken, there's currently an effort being made to create artificial rhino horns to flood the market with, so that the overall value drops significantly, because you can't tell which ones are legitimate and which ones are fake, and so that would crush the black market, because if you're not able to, you know, if you're in that world and you would like to purchase a quote-unquote legitimate black market product, you know what I mean, but you don't know if it's going to be legitimate or if it's going to be a knockoff, you're maybe less likely to buy it. Or, you know, scarcity is a big determinant for prices. So if there's tons of horns available, then each horn is available more cheaply, right? I believe it's for rhino horns. if memory serves me right, it is for rhino horns, and it's a way to try and again make make poachers' lives a lot worse, a lot harder, let's say. And it's not new news. I mean, this is something from like 2020, I think, maybe, but it's recent. It's news enough. It's recent. But anyway, sorry, I digress again. Again, this is one of the things that I'm I, quite passionate about, I guess, is the way to put it. So let's set this aside. But yes, something to be happy about. They've been one of our success stories. Scientists have developed a way to try and make it even less worthwhile to poach rhinos for their horns, and that's just going to help even further, which is all stuff to be happy about. With that said, let's go ahead and read and hope that the high notes continue. The Southern White Rhinoceros is a large species of ungulate native to southern Africa, South Africa, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Kenya, Uganda, and Zambia. They are, I'm actually curious, a question for all of you. How many of y'all, so I've always been pretty decent at like geography personally, not to toot my own horn, but I'm just curious, how many of y'all have learned more geography by playing Planet Zoo? Just in general, I'm just curious, because a lot of the time this is a good way to learn where places are. Anyway, they are large, broad animals with thick gray skin. The Southern White Rhinoceros has two horns, with the front horn being much longer than the secondary horn. The head of the rhinoceros is almost rectangular in shape with a square snout. They have protuberant ears on the top of their head and a hump at the base of the neck formed of the musculature that supports the head. Male Southern White Rhinoceros measure between 12.21 feet and 13.2 feet in length, are 68 inches to 75.2 inches tall, and weigh an average of 5,060 pounds. Females measure between 11.22 and 12.045 feet, that's getting real precise there, in length, or 64 inches, and are 64 inches to 70.8 inches tall, and weigh an average of 3,740 pounds. Wow, that is a huge disparity in weight compared to the disparity in length and height. Huh. Interesting. I wonder about like how the weight distribution like works and stuff, Interesting. Anyway, the Southern White Rhinoceros is near threatened, but has returned from the brink of extinction thanks to long-term conservation efforts. There you go. This species was reduced to 20 individuals in the early 20th century thanks to overhunting for meat and sport. Wow. Okay, I knew they were like in a horrific state. I did not realize that it was 20. That, that's actually impressive. That's really impressive. That's something to be like happy about. I know it sounds kind of like backwards, but that's something to be happy about. That we went from 20 to 18,000. That's huge. I saw the wrong 20 there. That 20. This 20 over here. That's huge. Wow. Okay. Again, I knew they were endangered. I guess I was critically endangered, but I didn't realize to what number. 20. Sorry, just blown away here. They continue to be threatened by poachers. Sorry, my bad. This species was reduced to 20 individuals. Just completely thrown off by that number. I mean, I can't be the only one. That's ridiculous. Okay, this species was reduced to 20 individuals in the early 20th century thanks to overhunting for meat and sport. Since then, consistent protection, captive breeding programs, and reintroduction to their historical home range has meant the southern white rhinoceros population has recovered spectacularly. They continue to be threatened by poachers who hunt the animal illegally for their horns. Horns can be sold for a high price for use in traditional medicine. So, man, I'm still not over the 20. It's funny, like, again, I say this all the time, like I love how with Zoopedia, even when I know stuff or when I'm familiar with things, know stuff seems a little egotistical. When I'm familiar with things, I always end up finding out something new. And I think Zoopedia does an excellent job of that. Yeah, never knew the number. Never knew the number. That's horrifying. But also, that's great. Wow, that's huge. But yeah, so like what I was touching on, right? Their horns can be sold for a high price, but the hope is that with this new kind of artificial horn that's been developed, the value, that price point will drop so much that it'll just be more expensive than it's worth to go and try and get these horns. And at that point, the poaching stops and we continue this upward trend of the population. Wow, that makes me quite happy to read, actually, the difference in number. It's a success story anyway, but this is even... Wow. 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 Okay, so, again, southern extents of Africa. They actually need a decent bit of space. We're okay. We've got about, I think, twice as much space as they require, if I'm not mistaken, so we should be fine. But the biome is only grassland biome. I hope they don't get too upset about the one tree in the region. I don't think it'll be too much. Species data. The group size, excluding juveniles, is 1 to 5. Male bachelor group size, 1 to 2. Female bachelor group size is 1 to 5. The dominant system is dominant male claims territory and females within. Okay, interesting. So it's not like traveling females or anything. They just kind of like come with the land. Mating system is polygynous. Relation with humans is confident, which is probably at least part of the reason why guests cannot enter the habitat. A little concerning, obviously, being in there with that, right? Size. Males are 5.874 feet tall at the shoulder. Females are 5.577 feet tall at the shoulder. Is this the first time we've seen two different numbers? No. Okay, it must be more common than I initially thought. Life expectancy is 43 years across the board. This is the one that weirds me out, that their life expectancy is the same across the board. Because, like, at least among humans, men and women have extremely different life expectancies, right? Weight is 50-60 on average for males and 37-40 on average for females. Sexual maturity at 5 years, sterility at 46 years. Okay, so if you do live past your average life expectancy, which, again, it's an average, right? You hit 46 and you go sterile, fair enough. Number of offspring per mating event is 1, gestation of 18 months, interbirth of 60, and reproduction is easy. Fantastic. Social needs. Male southern white rhinoceroses, that's what I thought. Hang on. I always thought rhinoceroses was the plural, and I thought I saw... Anyway, it's relevant. Male southern white rhinoceroses are solitary. They do not interact except to mate or challenge each other over territory or mates. Females may be solitary or may live in a temporary, loosely bonded group of several females and their offspring. Okay. But... So I understand that would be in a bachelor situation, I guess. Like these 1 to 5 would be, temporary groups that are made. But when they're in a group with a dominant male, do they then get tied together? Is that the implication there? So reproduction. Dominant male rhinoceroses are territorial and will preside over a large area of land that females will graze on. Females may whistle to males when they are ready to mate, or a male may... It's just funny to think about. It's the reverse of like the typical, cat calling that we that is extremely familiar, I guess, imagery or whatever you want to put it, however you want to put it. Anyway, females may whistle to males when they're ready to mate, or a male may detect a fertile female by smell. When a receptive female enters a male's territory, he will track her and remain close to her for 5 to 20 days until she reaches peak fertility. The male will attempt to prevent the female from entering the territory of other males during this time. However, if she successfully leaves his territory, he will leave her alone. Oh, that's so interesting. I wonder how precise that is, Like, is it like, between that rock and that tree is my territory, and if you step outside of it, you're immediately in, like, another male's territory? Or is there like a no man's land? Like, how closely packed are these territories? How, again, we get a lot of answers, but it also brings a lot of questions. That's interesting. Okay, cool. If courtship is successful, they will mate. Copulation lasts 15 to 30 minutes, and rhinoceroses will mate several times over 2 to 5 days, while the female is most fertile. Following copulation, during this fertile period, the female will leave the male. So, okay. I got like 100 questions about all this. Females will give birth to one calf after a pregnancy of 530 to 550 days. Males do not take part in rearing offspring. Newborn rhinoceroses will feed exclusively from their mother for 2 months. Then they will start eating soft young grasses in addition to milk. Weaning begins at 6 months old. Rhinoceros calves will be weaned between 12 and 18 months of age. The female rhinoceros will begin to distance herself from her young and may be actively hostile towards them when they reach 2.5 to 3 years old. She will then become sexually receptive again. Huh. Yeah. Okay, I guess so. Damn. Female rhinoceroses become sexually mature at 3.5 years old, but are unlikely to mate until they are 5 years old. Well, why? Male rhinoceroses become sexually mature at 5 to 7 years old, when they are also strong enough to guard and maintain territory. Southern white rhinoceroses are easy to breed in captivity as long as they're provided with plenty of space. That is some really fascinating stuff. Cool. Research status, of course, we have all of our fun facts. I guess I could get... there's nothing new here for the rhino. If I wanted to, I could maybe get the large tire down as well. Maybe. Interspecies enrichment. This is great for us for our franchise mode playthrough as well, because at present, literally, as this DLC got announced, we've been building, for those of you that are unfamiliar and might want to check it out, we've been building a space for a bunch of these animals to share. We've already got the common ostrich in, we got the springbok in, we're going to slowly work away at getting the others in as well, and now we can add the southern white rhino to that same kind of enclosure as well, so that's very exciting, that it kind of like works nicely with this crowd. Yeah, we've got the African buffalo, the black wildebeest, the common ostrich, the nyala, plain zebra, reticulated giraffe, sable antelope, springbok, and Thompson's gazelle. So quite a variety of interspecies enrichment options. With that said, let's go ahead and grab some of these rhinos, shall we? Get the southern white rhino. I didn't realize, it was mentioned in the comments of the previous episode that you can now type to search, which is excellent. I've been asking for this for months now, so that's excellent. But I didn't realize it was up over here as opposed to within the filters. Actually, hang on. White. Oh, I don't think. Nah. Okay, so this is for the animal specifically. I was wondering if it's like if you could get like male southern white rhino or something like that, but no. So let's go ahead and get. Who will be our male? That's a very low fertility. Matadi, I suppose. Even though you don't have the bronze badge, you have a decent fertility. So Matadi, decently expensive, eh? And our females will be Juane, I guess. And Boyketlo. Sure, let's go and grab them all. Alright, over to the trade center. And let's go ahead and push all of you to habitat. Go ahead and unpause. And hopefully we'll also get some baby meerkats today. There's our waterfall. I really like this this piece. I'm glad it exists. What we might do is if our next enclosure ends up over here, I might integrate this into that enclosure as well. Was my thinking. But yeah, got the waterfall over here. We could actually get this to be rough water. I guess it already is rough water. Or do I have to remove you to re-add you to change you? Can't tell. I can't tell. Well, it looks like it has a bit of a flow to it. Just not necessarily in the right direction or anything, but I think this works. We could add some VFX if we wanted to. Where are we? I guess rapids would do the trick. Rapids foam. Up over here to the right height. Make sure it's surface level. There we go. Just again makes it feel like it's kind of like flowing, right? And we could like get this moving over here so it feels like maybe it's hitting these rocks and then continuing on. I could get... I don't want it to feel like it's like they're rapids, but they should have some velocity, I guess. Breaking their speed a bit and coming around this way and flowing down. Cool. Important alert. What's going on over here? Dangerous fighting due to overcrowding. I could have sworn I had turned that off for our sandbox experience here. Go ahead and into the trade center. Good stuff. How did these guys escape? What? How are you escaping now? Wait, you haven't escaped. What? What is going on? There we go. Capture both of you. Alright, how are these guys getting out of here? Hang on. Is this going to be a fresh problem every time I boot into this game now? How are you able to get out here? Well, you're just jumping over? Don't make me do this, game. I don't want to do this. Okay, let's see if that does the trick, I suppose. How are they even able to jump it? I mean, I guess they must have the height clearance. Alright, looks like we're done. Alright, good. That works. Where's my rhino? Oh, there we are. Hey guys, they are huge! I like rhinos. Oh my god, they're massive. Look at that yawn. Look at that. Look at those teeth. Oh man, this guy's pretty scarred up, eh? Damn. Look at the legs. Look at how they like fold their legs and stuff. Oh, this guy's really scarred up. That's really sad to see. I always like the level of detail they have on these animals. Vet should be coming through. Yeah, vet's coming through. Dang. What about up over here? Y'all are looking okay. Look at that. They're absolutely massive. Plenty of space. They cannot get up over there, unfortunately. Alright, let's go ahead and rectify that, right? All I gotta do is... Oh, are they not able to even enter the... They're not able to swim at all, eh? Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Why don't we go ahead and... maybe push some of these back, I think? I did not realize just how big they are. Like, I mean, I know rhinos are large, of course, but, like, did not realize how large, you know? In the scale of the game, I mean. Don't think that'll be enough space for them either. Might need to rework my river a bit over here. Go ahead and go to the water. Pull this out a bit. Don't need to do too much. That should do the trick, I think. Bring the water a bit higher too. And let's go ahead and make sure this is the dirty water. I just think from an aesthetic perspective, it looks quite nice. And again, it works into that like mud bath conversation I was having. There we go. Much better. Much better. Alright. That's... Oh, man. The sheer size is just, like... impressive. I like how this little space has worked out, actually, quite nicely. Now, the vet's going to come and take her away, but I really like how the space has worked out. And this is definitely a trick I'm going to use in future builds as well. Getting the bedding at the top to act as cover. Oh my god. He's smitten. Didn't even realize he's going to walk into something. I'm speechless. This is... I mean, now it's kind of horrifying with the horn going through. It's like you're goring your mate. Oh no. But before that happened, I was just like, this is amazing. It's really is something special seeing these animals come to life. You know, you don't have to. You know, you can go in a single file. Like this reminds me of, like, you know, couples that go down the sidewalk and take up the whole sidewalk and just don't go in a single file even though there's people coming from the other side. Like, you know, you can walk in single file, right? You know that's an option. You don't always have to walk side by side. Don't stick your horn in your friend's cheek. There we go, much better. Look at that. Impressive. Level of detail again, as always. Even watching the animations, how they move around. beautiful game. I'm actually curious, jokes aside, I'm actually curious if this behavior is intentional. And if so, then why? Now, you're able to come through here, right? And they must have been, yeah. Again, I really want to see them interacting with some of these spaces. Giant otters are having babies. Nothing for our... Nice. One of our meerkats is expecting offspring April of this year. Very soon. Very soon. They're so slow moving. They're literally like just ambling everywhere. No rush to get anywhere. Just chilling. Wow, they really want no coverage. Good to know. It's gonna be a hard thing to like stay on top of. Their collision boxes need to be fixed, I would say. I'm really curious as to how that's possible, why that's happening. Are you gonna... I just want to see you interact with some of these things, especially. Like, I don't know if they're able to reach because models all have... What's going on, actually? They're literally, like, walking through each other and everything. That's strange. Where are you going? They're confusing me. Alright. Just want to see. We're able to get pretty close. Don't know if I do that, what happens? Okay, it does need an empty space around it, so I think we might be okay even up over here. Alright. Good, good, good. I imagine they're able to drink. Oh. From, like, exactly where they're standing right now, in fact. Oh, that's so neat. Did they... No way. I think so. I think their legs got wet, and so their legs are slightly, you know, differently shaded right now to look like they're wet at a very specific location, though. It's not like, you know, their legs got wet, so the entire animal is now covered in a slick water material or anything like that. You are a real lazy one, aren't you? You're just kind of like chilling over here. I mean, it's fair. You're pretty badly beat up. I don't think I can blame you. But, like, you know, I want to make sure we see her going out and about as well, you know? About to have offspring over here. These guys are adorable. It's funny, I saw a comment as well from the previous episode. Just came to mind, like... Can you imagine, like, wanting to try and pick one out because it's, I don't know, disease or something? Like, you want to pick one out, but as you're looking for it, not only is it tiny, but it's also like digging a tunnel and like hiding underground, so you can't even find it if you wanted to. Oh man, the fur is amazing. Yeah, many of you were saying the same. It's like the fur on the meerkats is like some of the best fur. It absolutely is. Try and keep up with you and wait until the baby shows up, I guess. Gonna like sit down and have the baby, I assume. Oh. Moment of truth, there it is. Oh my god, I didn't... Oh my god, are you kidding me? Hang on a second, are you... These proportions should be illegal. Nothing should be allowed to be this adorable. Oh my god. Oh my god, 2 of them. There's 2 of them. There's 3 of them. Yes, I'm so pleased. They're so cute. They're like, what, half the size of the adults? This one's just like standing there. Oh my god. Alright, off you go. Go have fun. We'll be back to visit you afterwards. People are coming up over here to check out the rhino. Any reaction to these vistas yet? I don't think I've seen anything. I wish you would you get like a stat of like how many people have checked out the vista or something, just so you kind of feel some way about having established them. Yeah, buddy's still standing over here, eh? And I was hoping by the time we come back, she would have moved, but I guess not. These guys legitimately feel like they're attached to the hip. Look, okay, I feel like I'm gonna... Just for experimentation's sake, let's go ahead and push them aside. I just feel like they're... like something's up here. It feels almost like a bug. I'm not 100% sure. But I just want to check. Doing okay, bud? Look at the nostril flaring and everything. The ear wiggles, the nostril flaring. Like, geez, the level of detail, man. Okay, let's not look at the level of detail there, necessarily. Come on. Alright. Get some babies. He agrees. Come on. Come on. Rhino, you want to. Go for it. Alright, I guess you don't want to. Fair enough. Man. Just like... the detail... Oh my god, you just... just passed out over here. Oh, that's amazing. There's another case like the llamas. Not as much, but similar. It's like you can't tell if they're passed out or dead. Having to lie down up over here. I wasn't expecting one to occupy this entire space. Non-stop. Wonder if we're gonna have any luck with that ultra. This is great. I'm glad this has worked out. Quite a few people are coming over here to check them out. I was worried about the scale of it. Into the water. Having a drink or a dip? A drink, I assume. Very nice. Yeah, the front of the mouth is wet now, huh? Neat. All right, I don't think we'll be so lucky as to see them have offspring. I'm actually genuinely quite concerned because the vet did come through. The injury has been taken care of. You're able to move around, and yet you're choosing not to, so I'm a little concerned as to what's up with that rhino back there. Come on. I would like to see the mating animations as well. It's always interesting to see what they've done with the mating animations. Oh, here we go. Maybe? Yes. Neck rubbing. But again, like the horn pierced right through the side of Duane over here. February of the year 23. Oh, that's some time away. That's some time away. They haven't interacted with these yet. They've kind of bumped into these, but there. Bring some food in, perhaps. Typically, these things get filled out first, right? So maybe that's why they haven't used these hanging grazer feeders yet, because there hasn't been food to have. Might need some more like keepers and stuff as well. Where are we? Zoo, staff. We've been adding animals to the zoo endlessly, but we haven't actually kept the staff up or anything, right? So wouldn't be surprised if that's a source of some trouble. There's a decent crowd. Oh, you know what? There you go. There you go. People checking out the vista. All right, cool. Now again, I could like, you know, build a little plaque or something explaining exactly what the thinking is behind this thing. It is really cool because it really does allow you to make custom like learning opportunities and stuff like that. And make it feel like people are leaving educated, you know, when, like, they might be looking at a board about something else, but you could assign it a certain topic, but make the board itself about something else because you're, you know, making custom billboards and stuff. Like, it opens up so many options. It opens up so many options. I absolutely love it. Let's actually check what our other Vista is looking like. We'll see. I mean, again, it's a matter of timing, right? Like, look, they're perfect timing. These people are checking out the Vista. That's great. Now, it actually says, yes, viewing Habitat 1. Oh my god. That's huge. How do we not have that at launch? That's really quite... That's good. That's really quite good. Oh. Okay, looks like... No. Oh yeah, looks like all 3 of our rhinos are out and about. That is also quite good. I was like... I saw this spot was empty, and I was like, okay, maybe it's because... the vet came through and took them away, but no, they're all out here. Here comes the food. Is there no food in these? Okay, I guess this is getting filled out first. Fair enough. Meal time. Come on. Where's our third? Hanging out over there? Fair enough. The sounds they make are quite interesting as well. The grunting especially. Alright. Having a good meal. We've got all of our rhinos moving. They've got a decent bit of space over here, right? They've got, well, way more than what they need. Because if we take a look at this, yeah, we got plenty of space. Seem to be having a good time. We've already got some baby meerkats as well. We're going to have some baby rhinos soon, too. Playing over here. February of, yeah, year 23. So it'll be some time before we get that baby rhino. Folks, I think we're going to go ahead and wait until next time to see that baby rhino, as over here we have Matadi just falling asleep by the food. Just that food coma kicking in, I suppose. So, fair enough. You have fun. You take your break, and I will take mine. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this session. If you did, you know what to do. Let me know by leaving a like and a comment down below. Again, and as always, it makes a massive difference in how I approach content on the channel, what I do, what I don't do, how I go about doing things when I do things. It really does inform me as to your opinion as to, like, you know, what you want to see, what you don't want to see. Again, I do also read all the comments, so if you have any opinions you'd like to share, if you'd like to let me know which animal you would like to see next in this mini-series, leave a comment down below, and I will take that into consideration, of course. And again, forgot to mention this earlier, might have mentioned it during the time-lapse, because I'm going to record the voiceover right now, but if you would like to pick the DLC up for yourself, I will have a link in the description down below that you can use to grab the DLC and also support the channel at the same time. You can get a bunch of games at that link, actually, so, you know, any you pick up from that link will support the channel if you would like to do that. Again, no obligation, of course, but just something to think about. Anyway, folks, hope you had a good time, because Rhino, I did. Oh, dear, I couldn't help myself. Folks, again, if you had a good time, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know. As always, of course, a massive thanks goes out to all of the channel members and patrons who've been supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Y'all keep us alive and running smoothly. And, of course, a big ol' thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, cheers.